All right, we're about to start Chapter 7 of Race the Wild, Rainforest Relay. Endangered Species and Habitat. Many species in the Amazon rainforest are endangered. Endangered is a term for an animal that could become extinct in the near future. An animal becomes extinct when there are no longer any of its kind alive. These are some of the Amazonian animals that are endangered: black spider monkey, golden lion tamarin monkey, great green macaw, Amazonian glass frog. Many other animals, including both predators and prey, are on the verge of being endangered. They are considered near threatened or vulnerable. Some of these include harpy eagle, jaguar, maned wolf, and lowland tapir. Here's some pictures. Oh man, that's the second time I've tried to record this chapter and dropped my phone. Sorry guys. We'll get better as time goes on, I'm sure. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a light too. There's a nice light behind me, but not in front. Might help us see the pictures a little better. The greatest threat to these animals is the loss of habitat. Since the 1960s, the lush forest has been replaced by farms, ranches, and roads. The loss of rainforest habitat is a tremendous threat to animals, plants, and humans alike. Chapter 7, Pretty in Pink. Mary flinched, her whole body tense. Russell watched as she raised her chin and stared up towards the sky, alert like a cat. "Hear that sound?" she whispered. Russell could hear lots of sounds, all running together. He listened closer. He didn't hear anything like when the green team had been tracking them. "It's the squirrel cuckoo," Mary said, the same call again and again. She flashed an unexpected smile at Russell and moved towards the sound. She tilted her head to the side as if her ear were leading the way. "I bet it's not a real bird," she mumbled. "I haven't seen any squirrel cuckoos around." "It's Sage and Dev using the bird calls, taking turns." Russell followed Mary, stunned that she could tease the laughing squawk of the squirrel cuckoo out of the constant chorus of forest. Long before they stepped into a small clearing, Russell recognized it at once. "I saw this," he said, almost in a daze. "From the zip line." At the clearing's center, it was a stone monument covered in ancient carvings. It was evidence of old civilizations of the Amazon. Russell stopped and stared. He knew that people lived in the rainforest, but they had not seen any signs of them. Looking at the monument, Russell realized that it was the shape of a tree, the same kind of tree where he and Mary had hidden from the green team. "Russell, come on," Mary said from the far side of the clearing. "If you saw this from the zip line, then we're really close, and you might recall," she added in a tone not unlike Sage's, "this is a race." When they finally found their way to the river, the smiles of Javier, Sage, and Dev lifted their spirits. Their teammates were thrilled to learn that the green team was not that far ahead. "That's awesome," Sage said as they all took seats on the boat. "They haven't come back to the dock yet, so we might even be in the lead. We just have to answer the clue." Got a picture. That is an interesting carving, isn't it? So cool. Dev unclipped the ANCAM from his utility belt and read it again. "I figured the last two lines about not seeing your dinner if you can hear could be about echolocation," Dev said. "You know, using sonar. Lots of animals can make a sound and then visualize things based on the sound waves that echo back to them." "Yeah, like bats," said Sage. "And dolphins," Russell's added. "That's it," Mary yelled. "The Amazon River dolphin. I couldn't come up with it before. It uses echolocation, and in really murky water, the dolphin is pink, but it's gray when the water's clear. It has to do with their skin getting more sun or something." "Awesome. So we just have to find a river dolphin now. I assume in the river," Sage said. I'm going to take this minute to segue to another book. If you ever get a chance to read the American Girl doll Leah book. It's the second one where she goes to Brazil. They talk a lot more about Amazon animals. Sloths come up quite a bit. She actually takes care of a baby sloth. And there's a pink dolphin in that book too. It's really cool. So if someone's willing to read it to you, give it a shot. No pictures. Sorry, guys. The question was directed at Mary, but everyone smirked. Yes, Mary answered, still trying not to laugh. During the rainy season, they ventured into the streams and the flooded areas, but they'd be in the river now. So do you all agree to go downriver? Javier asked, and they agreed. All right, sir, let's go, Javier said, pointing. The captain nodded. Anchors away, he said with a smile, even though the motorboat didn't have an anchor. After a few moments, Sage whispered, should we ask if we can go faster? Well, we probably have a better chance of seeing a dolphin if we aren't going too fast, Mary said. Even then, it'll take some luck. The team went silent. Fish? The captain said. No, Sage shook her head. We need a dolphin. No fish, she repeated. Russell looked towards the captain and noticed that he was pointing to a bucket of fish. You have fish, Russell yelled out. We can use them to lure a dolphin, Russell said. Thank you. And he grabbed the bucket with both hands. The captain smiled, his eyes bright like the sun on water. Javier spoke with the captain and confirmed that it was a good location for tracking down dolphins. He said there is a dock close by where tourists even swim with them. It took only a few minutes of throwing in fish and peering into the cloudy water before a pale pink beak poked out. The dolphin turned to look at the boat. Quick, Dev, Russell said. Sage threw a fish in the air, and the dolphin snapped its long, skinny jaws shut. Got it, Dev cried. They have a brain capacity 40% larger than humans, Mary said, almost absent-mindedly. Russell looked at the dolphin again. Its pink head freckled with gray, its tiny round eyes, an open grin. He thought how amazing it was to swim with them. For a moment, he wished it wasn't a race. I've got the next clue, Dev said. Pass where the waters meet. Then you'll find flags that greet. Flags that greet. Follow the path marked for you and learn the Amazon's final clue. That's horrible, Dev said. My little brother can rhyme better than that. I believe you, Sage responded, but let's make a decision. Do we keep going downstream? The team nodded. Hang on, the captain said, shifting the tiller. The motor strained, and the boat pinched forward. It wasn't long before the sound of the motor was drowned out. Russell turned to see a larger boat approaching, its nose lifted high. The boat revved by, the noisy motor churning up waves. Russell gripped the side of their smaller boat as it lurched in the rough water. The word that came to his mind was rude. No way, Russell heard Dev cry, his voice carrying over the thrum of the engines. How'd they get that boat? Sage asked. Russell didn't want to look. When he did, he saw that they already knew. It was the green team. I don't know, Javier answered, shaking his head. Maybe that boat showed up after we left. It definitely wasn't one of the ones at the dock. Russell watched as the other boat disappeared down one of the river's many turns. It was clear that the red team's tiny boat was already going at top speed. The only thing to do was watch and wait. Except Russell did have something to do. Trying not to be obvious, he examined his backpack. He had wanted to do it ever since the green team showed up at the giant tree. He soon found what he was looking for. It looked like a merit badge, a fabric patch with a 4-leaf clover on it. It was stuck there with some kind of glue. It blended into the backpack's original design. I'm going to show you a picture before I finish reading that page. He doesn't look very happy, does he? When he ripped off the patch, he found a tiny chip underneath. Now he had proof. His friends had been tracking him. Dallas had probably snagged some kind of GPS device from his mom's office. No wonder the green team had gone upstream to find the capybara. Russell's gut nodded when he realized that they were still tracking him. They must have noticed that the red team's boat had stopped in the river just long enough to snap a photo of a friendly Amazon River dolphin. Russell would bet anything that the green team had followed them to that point, stopped their big motorboat, and photographed the same one. At first, Russell was going to just drop the chip in the river. He wanted to be rid of it. Then he thought again. It wasn't safe to drop an electronic device in the water. What if the fish ate it? So he pocketed the chip. He'd decide what to do later. He glanced over at Javier, whose expression was as serious as his teammates'. Javier seemed to realize Russell was watching him. "I don't know how they got that faster boat," he said. Russell shrugged. "It's always something," he offered. Russell had heard his dad say that tons of times when another team had made a good play, it was Dad's way of reminding him that nothing's ever easy, but you have to keep trying. Russell had to remind himself of that now. "Hey, Javier," Russell said, trying to think of something else. "I know some kind of stone monument I saw some kind of stone monument from the zip line. It was all carved. It looked like people made it a long time ago." "Yeah, I know it," Javier said. "It's a symbol for the Kapoak, the world tree. The people of this region believe the tree is sacred." It reaches up to the heavens with its limb and down to earth with its roots. The Kapoak tree represents how all life is connected. Russell nodded, his hand still resting on the chip in his pocket. He liked that idea. "What is that?" Dev yelled, loud enough for everyone to hear. Russell looked towards the middle of the river, where Dev was staring. Dev put his hand on Mary's shoulder for balance and stood up. "That water is a totally different color," he said. "Dev, that's it. I know why the river changes color like that," Sage exclaimed. "This is where the waters meet." "So cool. I'm glad they finished that clue before they get the final one." That's the end of the chapter. See you again next time.